Hello, my name is Richard Kern. My presentation today is going to be on social anxiety and how it affects adolescent youth. So, to start off, social anxiety is one of the most common challenges that adolescent youth face today. Schools are an incredibly high pressure environment and it can evoke a overwhelming sense of fear into students. Specifically, if a student is dealing with social anxiety, it is that fear of judgment. Social anxiety creates an intense fear of embarrassment and criticism. And for many students, this fear can make everyday interactions feel incredibly intimidating and even at points exhausting. Some of the history of social anxiety starts all the way back into the 1800s, where it was known as social fear, but it wasn't taken too seriously until the 1960s and 70s, where it was starting to become more officially understood as a psychological condition. Within modern research, now it really ties social anxiety to earlier experiences that we had when we were younger and how specific relationships can kind of take hold of our social anxiety. If we're looking specifically at adolescence, adolescence is a very crucial developmental stage for teens. They're forming their identity, they're becoming more self-aware of the world around them and also paying more attention to how others are perceiving and understanding who they are within the world. This is kind of where the dynamic between a teacher and a student is really important. A teacher should be able to create an environment that has a student be able to be comfortable enough to be confident in their classroom, and them having a good relationship together will also have a student be more willing to participate. It all comes down to the environment that this teacher is creating and how this student feels within it. It's an environment that we can control. Something that teachers don't have control over is social media. Social media has gone and changed everything for students. It adds another outlet for them to be experiencing judgment. They could be experiencing judgment at home or at school. Now they have this online persona that they also need to keep to a certain standard and allow for them to be seen in a certain light. Social anxiety should be talked about not as a personality flaw, but it should be seen as what it is. Social anxiety is a clinical disorder. It is very much influenced by biology, genetics, social experiences that we've had in the past, and the type of environment that we are placed in. We need to realize that social anxiety is something that our students experience every day, and it should be taken such as seriously. Another sort of layer that we can kind of add to this is looking at the relationship between a parent and a child. Research has shown that overly critical parents and overprotective parenting skills can lead to a child having social anxiety later in life. These types of students come in and they're very scared of evaluation and criticism because they have a lot of experience of dealing with that at home. A 2023 case study had found that children with lower early social skills are more likely to show anxiety symptoms as they grow. This tells us that early social development is essential in emotional help. Introducing students to more social interactions when they are younger will help them be more prepared for those types of interactions when they're older. If we're looking at social anxiety in the classroom, we need to realize that it can play an effect for a student who might know what's going on in the classroom. They just don't have the confidence to raise their hand or ask the question or even the willingness to want to participate. We should also be looking at the types of tasks we're having these students do because things like presentations and group discussions can really boost a student's anxiousness and really have them have a tough social experience within that nature. Research also links social anxiety to loneliness and depressive symptoms. which can already add to the probably bad time that they are experiencing in the classroom. So, with all that being said, what I want schools to be doing is ensuring that they are creating safe spaces for students, hiring supportive counselors, understanding teachers, and ensuring that students are able to be themselves and have spaces to show it. Ensuring that we are having teachers include positive group interactions because they're able to build confidence of students. These kinds of experiences can help them feel less isolated and more connected to what's going on in the classroom. We should also have classroom circles for these types of students and community spaces to give them emotional safety. It also is giving them space for them to try and participate without feeling any kind of judgment. Research also shows that constant affirming and communication between a teacher and a student can help alleviate anxiety. Giving them positive affirmations can help them know that they're doing right within the classroom. Teachers can also help support anxious students by designing lessons that allow for different kinds of participation, giving students opportunities to break out of their comfort zone a bit and let them participate in whichever way they feel most comfortable in. This is a gradual process, and we need to understand that. We need to understand that as it's going to take some time for these students to want to get out of their shells and want to be more outgoing. When children are given the right kind of support, their anxiety becomes more manageable, and the right type of support allows for a student to be able to have a good experience in school. We need to understand that social anxiety is always evolving and won't go away overnight. We as teachers need to be able to listen to our students and effectively support them effectively.